And the pressure you avoid might be what saves you. What if the thing you keep running from is exactly what your brain needs? What if pressure is not always the enemy? And what if constant comfort, boredom, and having nothing meaningful to pursue are more dangerous than hard work? We are constantly told to relax, avoid stress, take it easy, protect your peace. And yes, some forms of stress can destroy your health. Working endlessly at something you hate can drain the life out of you. But not all pressure is the same. There is a kind of pressure that breaks you, and there is another kind that builds you. It gives you a reason to wake up. It places a challenge in front of you that demands more than your current ability. It forces you to learn, adapt, and discover strengths you would never find inside your comfort zone. The real problem is that many people are not just avoiding unhealthy stress. They are avoiding anything difficult. And when you remove every challenge from your life, you do not automatically find peace. You often find emptiness. At first, emptiness feels comfortable. No deadlines, no responsibility, nobody expecting anything from you. But eventually, comfort becomes heavy. You wake up without direction. You reach the end of the day without feeling that you moved forward. You watch other people build their lives while you remain in the same place. Then the questions begin. Am I falling behind? Have I wasted my time? Is my life actually going anywhere? Human beings do not only need rest, we also need resistance. We need something worth struggling for. We need a goal that calls out the strongest version of us. Pressure becomes dangerous when it has no meaning. But when it is connected to a purpose, a skill, or a project you genuinely care about, pressure becomes energy. You may be tired, but you are not empty. You may struggle, but you understand why you are struggling. There is a major difference between being exhausted because you are building your life and being drained because you are escaping from it. But before you can build anything meaningful, you must remove one habit that makes every problem feel heavier. Complaining. Some people do not simply experience a problem, they repeat it all day. They explain why they failed, who caused it, why the situation was unfair, and why they never received the opportunities they deserved. Eventually, complaining becomes more than a reaction. It becomes an identity. I am the person nobody helped. I am the person everyone treated unfairly. I am the person who had it harder than everyone else. Some of that may be true. You may have been treated unfairly. You may have started with fewer advantages. Things may have happened to you that were not your fault. But what happened to you cannot become a permanent excuse for what you refuse to do next. Complaining gives you temporary relief because it removes responsibility. But it also removes power. Because when you convince yourself that other people control your entire life, you also convince yourself that you cannot change it. The same is true for constantly explaining yourself. Why did you start this project? Why did you change careers? Why are you learning that skill? Why are you following a different path? You do not owe everyone a detailed presentation about your decisions. Sometimes the best answer is not an explanation. It is a result. Let people watch what you do. Let time explain your choices. Talking does not prove that you are serious. Consistency does. Showing up when nobody is watching. Continuing when there is no applause. Working even when the results are invisible. Those actions speak louder than any argument. But this is where most people face another challenge. You know you should work. You know you should learn. But when you look around, everyone else seems to be enjoying themselves. Your friends are going out. Someone else is traveling. Another person is spending hours playing games or scrolling through content. Meanwhile, you are sitting alone, struggling to understand something difficult or working on a project that has produced no visible results. That is when your mind starts attacking you. Why am I doing this? Is it really worth it? What if I sacrifice all this time and still fail? This is the point where most people quit. Not because they lack talent, because the reward is too far away. Your brain loves immediate results. Open your phone and you receive instant stimulation. Eat something you enjoy and you receive an immediate reward. Receive praise and you instantly feel better. Skill building works differently. You may practice for months before anyone notices. You may study for years before the opportunity arrives. You may work on a project and receive nothing but mistakes in return. That makes learning feel unfair. You pay the price today, but the reward may not appear for years. What most people fail to understand is that skill grows silently. Every hour of practice appears separate, but the hours are actually stacking. One lesson, one mistake, one difficult experience, one failed attempt that exposes a weakness you did not know you had. Then one day, an opportunity appears. Someone asks you to lead a project, build a business, write something, make a film, solve a problem, or step into a larger role. And suddenly, you realize you are ready. Not because you became exceptional overnight, because you spent years preparing before you knew what you were preparing for. That is how many successful careers are built. The early years often look random. Different jobs, failed projects, skills that appear unrelated, periods where nothing seems to make sense. But later, those experiences begin connecting. A job in journalism may teach you how to write under pressure. A failed attempt at fiction may teach you how to tell stories. Working in production may teach you research, structure, and presentation. Years later, those skills combine into something no single experience could have created. The path only looks obvious when you look backward. While living through it, it often feels like confusion. That is why you should not wait to understand exactly how every skill will be useful. Sometimes your responsibility is simply to become good. Opportunity rarely sends you a warning. It does not say, "In 3 years, you will need this ability." It simply arrives and asks one question: are you ready? Most people do not miss opportunities because they never heard about them. They miss them because they waited for the opportunity before they started preparing. Knowledge and skill are forms of capital. You can lose money. You can lose a job. Industries can change. But what you build inside your mind moves with you. Your ability to communicate, to sell, to understand people, to solve problems, to create, to learn quickly. These abilities can rebuild your life in almost any environment. But skill alone is not enough. You can meet highly intelligent people who collapse when criticized. You can meet talented people who avoid responsibility. You can meet successful people who become cruel the moment they receive power. That is why you should not judge people only by their intelligence, confidence, or charm. Judge their character, and character rarely appears during easy moments. It appears under pressure. The first test is criticism. What happens when someone tells you that you made a mistake? Do you listen? Do you consider whether part of the criticism might be useful? Or do you instantly defend yourself, attack the other person, and explain why nothing was your fault? A weak character treats every correction like an insult. A strong character does not necessarily enjoy criticism. Criticism is uncomfortable for everyone, but a strong person can tolerate short-term discomfort in exchange for long-term improvement. They ask, "Is there something here I can use?" Even if the delivery was poor, is there a lesson inside it? The person who rejects all criticism repeats the same mistakes for years. The person who learns from it becomes more capable after every experience. The second test is stress. During normal situations, almost anyone can appear calm. They smile, they speak confidently, they claim they can handle anything. But when the deadline approaches, the money is at risk, or a serious problem appears, the mask falls. Some people blame everyone. Some panic. Some release their frustration on the weakest person in the room. Others pause, examine the situation, and begin solving it step by step. Strength does not mean feeling no fear. Strength means fear does not make your decisions for you. You can feel angry without becoming destructive. You can feel pressure without becoming reckless. You can fail and still ask, what part of this was my responsibility? That is what makes someone dependable. When people lean on them, there is something solid there. The third test is power. Watch how people behave before they gain authority, and then watch them afterward. When they needed others, they may have appeared kind. When they were junior employees, they may have spoken constantly about fairness and teamwork. But what happens when they control the decisions? How do they treat people who cannot benefit them? How do they speak to workers below them? How do they behave around people with no influence? Power does not always create a new personality. Often, it reveals the personality that was already there. An insecure person uses power to feel important. They intimidate others. They humiliate people. They create fear because fear makes them feel strong. A genuinely strong person understands that power is responsibility. The more influence they gain, the more self-control they need. And self-control also appears in the way you speak. Some people talk because they have something valuable to say. Others talk because they cannot tolerate silence. They explain everything, respond to every comment, reveal every plan, try to win every argument. But the more you speak, the more likely you are to say something you will regret. You may reveal your intentions too early. You may give someone information they can use against you. You may speak while angry and spend weeks repairing damage caused in seconds. Some of the most powerful people in a room are not the loudest. They listen, they observe, they allow others to reveal their thinking. Then, when they speak, their words carry weight. Silence is not weakness. It does not mean becoming mysterious or manipulative. It means understanding the difference between words that add value and words that only release your tension. Not every accusation deserves a defense. Not every question deserves an immediate answer. Not everyone deserves access to your plans. Sometimes the most powerful response is to stay quiet and continue working. There is another kind of energy that also requires discipline. Ambition, competition, anger, the desire to become stronger and prove yourself. The existence of this energy is not the problem. The problem is where you direct it. Without direction, energy becomes destructive. It becomes endless conflict. A need to dominate others. A need to humiliate people in order to feel powerful. A constant search for temporary pleasure that leaves you feeling emptier afterward. But when the same energy is directed properly, it can build an entire life. Put it into training, a business, a craft, a stronger body, a meaningful project, a book, something that continues existing after you are gone. Real strength is not the ability to make other people afraid. Real strength is having the ability to cause harm and choosing restraint. Feeling anger and knowing where to place it. Having enormous energy without becoming controlled by it. Confidence does not require you to destroy other people. A secure person can respect others because respect does not make them feel smaller. They accept responsibility. They control their impulses. They protect the people who depend on them. They tell the truth when lying would be easier. And they remain in control when losing control would feel more satisfying. Fire without direction can burn down a house, but controlled fire creates warmth, energy, and progress. Your ambition, anger, competitiveness, and pressure work the same way. So the next time you feel stressed, do not immediately ask, "How can I escape this?" Ask, "Is this pressure meaningless? Or is it the price of something I truly want? Am I exhausted because I am on the wrong path, or because I am still at the difficult beginning of the right one? Do I genuinely need rest, or am I searching for permission to quit?" There is a difference between resting so you can continue and making comfort your entire life. Choose something worth your effort. One skill you can become excellent at. One project that connects your days together. One responsibility that forces you to grow. And stop waiting to feel completely ready. You will not feel motivated every morning. You will not always feel confident. You will never receive a guarantee that the path will work. But every time you work despite uncertainty, you build character. Every time you accept criticism instead of escaping it, you become stronger. Every time you control a sentence you would have regretted, you gain more control over yourself. Every time you direct